Everyone to our Rosemont 2020 presentation. My name is Lou Hedges. I'm Director of Admissions at Rosemont College and your host for this evening's presentation. Since early March, when we were asked to leave campus because of the pandemic, we began a very aggressive effort to create a plan for our reopening. And we have full plans to reopen, and you're going to be hearing much of that this evening. From the beginning of the working on the plan, our first priority with everything we did was the protection of our students and the ability to offer a first-class education at Rosemont College. You will be hearing from two of the primary architects of Rosemont 2020 this evening. This is a very innovative and well-received plan. You may have already read about our plan in the newspapers or on our website. Again, every step of the way, the first priority was the safety of our students. You will be able to ask questions this evening as well, but please hold your questions until the end when both presenters have completed their presentations, as many of your questions hopefully will be answered during the presentation. Now, just by a show of hands, how many of the participants this evening have already decided to attend Rosemont College this fall? If you can wave and so we can get a sense of who you are. Okay. How many of you are still in the process of deciding to attend Rosemont College this fall? Please wave at us. Very good. How many of you are parents? Because we certainly understand the impact that parents have on their children's college choices. And you're very important to us. And many of our communications and the plan revolves around your concerns and desires to make sure that your children are safe at Rosemont College. Okay, so let's get started. We have two presenters tonight. Again, they are primary architects of Rosemont 2020. We have Dr. Jason Boyers, our brand new president, and I feel some sympathy for a brand new president to be put into a position like this. He's handled it quite effectively. We also have Dr. Lisa Dolling, who's our provost and vice president of academic and student affairs at Rosemont. So let's get started. I think you'll be very pleased with the depth and the planning that went into this effort for Rosemont 2020. And I'd like to now introduce Dr. Jason Boyer, our new president.
So hello. I can't see many of your faces because now we're sharing the screen at this beautiful presentation and beautiful picture of our wonderful campus. It's interesting. So you and I are in this together. We're both showing up at a very interesting time. And I was talking to one of our alums the other day, and he was actually telling me the story about when he started college in 1968. And in 1968, I don't know if you realize this, there was protests going on because there was a war in Vietnam. There was a flu pandemic going on in 1968 that actually took 100,000 lives. And so he was experiencing some of the same things as he was entering college. I'm happy to be here. I actually think it's a really interesting time for Rosemont to have an impact. We're going to get into the details of it, but what I want to tell you is that college is something that is a long-term commitment. It's a 4-year commitment, right? Because you're trying to figure out what you're going to do. I think we have a few transfers in here, but for the most part, many of you are going to start and you're going to complete your schooling. So the key thing I want you to remember is this is about joining a community as much as learning. The people you meet in college are going to be the people who are your network years into the future. They're going to be the people you call, and to really join that special place where you belong, it's really what we call the power of small. We have a community that really gets to know each other and looks after each other. So I want to dig into our Rosemont 2020 plan, but I want you to hear from me beyond the logistics, and we are going to make sure that we think about the logistics and create a safe place for you to come. Beyond the excitement of studying and starting your path on what you want to do, the biggest thing I want you to remember is if you join us, you're joining the Rosemont community, and you're a part of us and a part of our family. And we're looking forward to maybe you taking that step. So I'm going to have Lisa forward it. So one of the things I'm proud about is I started actually a few weeks before I was supposed to. I had done a plan for University of Michigan. So this is the second state I've actually done a plan for college in about 3 months. So I am just fortunate, they say. But one of the first things I wanted to do was make sure we had a good detailed plan for our community to understand how we come back this fall. And the Philadelphia Inquirer actually did a feature story on us. They did a story on a group of local colleges, but they separated us. And one of the reasons why was they commented that we unveiled a plan that was one of the most detailed released by a local college so far. And we're proud of that because we wanted to sit down and really create a plan in which our students were going to be safe and we could bring them back to our campus. So I want to talk high level, and then you're going to hear about an exciting aspect of our plan, which is 2 terms, 1 focus. But let's talk about logistics. So what I want to promise you is that we're going to follow the CDC and Pennsylvania Health Department guidance. I'm in conversations on a weekly basis with officials from the state. I'm in conversations with basically the deputy secretary who's over higher education in the state of Pennsylvania, and we're looking at the CDC guidelines. And in our red, yellow, green phases to align with the state, we've made sure that we align all of what we're doing with those guidelines. And here's what I can tell you, just in conversations. I have every reason to believe that we're going to be in green before the summer's out, and that we intend to start school on campus in late August. And in order to do that, we're doing a couple of things. We have instituted enhanced cleaning, and that is basically increased presence on campus. We work with the gold standard in cleaning for the industry, and in fact, they do a lot of healthcare as well. They're going through, they're sanitizing, they're cleaning multiple times a day. They're going through the dorms. They're going to do a deep clean of the entire campus this summer, and then we're going to do it at the holidays. We've changed food service delivery, and we have a beautiful new community center. For those of you who haven't had the privilege of being in it, and it has this wonderful dining facility. We're still going to have that initially under yellow. We're going to have food to go, but we believe we'll be in green by the time we start the semester. And there'll be food to go options. There'll also be seating, but it will just be reduced to make sure we can stay with the guidelines of social distancing. We're going to look at every room and have maximum capacity in those rooms. We're setting up the rooms so you can go to class and still social distance. In the yellow phase, which I think will be before you get here, we are requiring masks. In the green phase, we're strongly encouraging masks. And let me tell you, we're going to give each student 2 masks that are going to have Rosemont on them. They're going to be the most fashionable thing on campus. So they're going to be a collector's item, and so be ready for the Rosemont mask. Students with compromised health conditions. I want to talk about this too, because we did this with our employees too. For us, if you're in our community, we want to take care of you. If there's a reason you have something, maybe you have a compromised immune system, we have a pathway for you to stay up on your classes. If someone should fall ill, we have a space set aside for students to self-isolate. If they fall ill, they can self-isolate away from the community. We're going to have partnerships with healthcare facilities that can come in and test. We're going to make sure students are safe and follow the guidelines that we need to follow as we go through this fall. And all of that is to say that we are going to be open, but we're doing it in a way that we believe puts the consideration of the health and safety of our students and our faculty and our staff first and foremost. We're excited to get back together as a community. And really, I mean, the amazing thing about the power of small is you're not a number. They know your name. They know your face. I was, you know, I've gotten a few messages at some larger universities. They're wondering how they're going to tell who students are behind the mask if they have to wear the mask. I can tell you, your professors will know exactly who you are, and they're going to be vested in your success. And we're excited to have you. And if you join this class, you're coming in with the new president. So you and I are going to graduate together, kind of, right? We're going to go through our 4 years together. And so I'm hoping I get to know each and every one of you in a socially distanced way this fall, but still get to know every single one of you. So I want to turn it over now to our provost and have her walk you through how we're going to deliver education this fall in a way that stays consistent with our values and what makes us unique as an institution.
Thank you, President Boyers. Good evening, everyone. We're so delighted to have you with us. I want to start by picking up on something that President Boyers said. He said, part of the power of small is the fact that we know your name and we know your face, we know who you are. I want to add to that by saying we also hear your voice, because this plan was the result of us listening to students, listening to faculty, hearing the challenges that they faced, and we listened intently. We heard about how difficult it was for students to manage 5 courses at a time online because they were forced to. We heard how challenging it was to focus on schoolwork given all of the personal issues that they were dealing with at home. And we, as a result, formed a task force, a group, to try to come up with the best solution for making sure that, first of all, we continue to provide the excellent education that Rosemont is known for in a personal way, but also mindful of what everyone is dealing with. And we came up with our plan called 2 terms, 1 focus. One of the most important things you should realize about this plan is that we're still maintaining the integrity of the fall semester. It is 1 term. However, by dividing the semester into 2 terms, we lighten the load. We allow students to focus on fewer courses, fewer different subject matters at a time. So I'll just outline a couple of the benefits that you see before you, and of course, allow ample time for question and answer at the end. First of all, as I mentioned, each term will be comprised of 7 weeks, during which students will take either 2 or 3 courses, depending upon the schedule. The format provides a much easier transition between online or on-campus delivery, because we don't know what's going to happen. We fully intend to be on campus, but God forbid if there's a resurgence of the virus and we have to go off campus unexpectedly, this plan makes it much easier to do that. As I mentioned, students will be able to focus on fewer courses at a time. The 4th bullet point, and this is meant for all of you, new students, students new to college academics. We know you've been doing this in high school online, but it really is different when you get to college. The transition to college academics will be much less stressful, much smoother, and less daunting. Taking fewer courses will allow us, Rosemont, to deliver the same personal attention that we're known for, regardless of modality. Because if you think of it from the faculty perspective, they have fewer students at a time to devote their personal attention to. We're really excited about that. By the way, in the first bullet point, we mentioned the fact that every course will be hybrid. That means that when we're back on campus, there will still be an online component to every course. And I'll talk in a moment about some of the benefits of that. Hybrid delivery means that we can maintain social distancing because we're going to limit the amount of time that students need to be in the classroom. That means we can keep up with hygiene, with cleaning classrooms, maintain social distancing. There'll be fewer students in a class at a time. and the benefits are just numerous. Finally, as Dr. Boyers indicated a minute ago, students with compromised health conditions will be able to continue their coursework remotely, even when the college is open for classes. That means if there's a student who cannot come to campus for personal reasons, there's no interruption. We have state-of-the-art smart classrooms, and those allow students to continue to participate in classes, even from the comfort of home when we're on campus. So those are some of the benefits. I'm sure we're positive that once you come to campus and you start taking courses in this fashion, many more will emerge. The next slide is a sample schedule of what a first-year student schedule will look like. The first-year connection seminar is the only exception. That's one course that will take over the entire semester. And that's because that's your orientation course. That's where you learn not only about the basics of a liberal arts education, but you learn what it means to be a college student. Study skills, life skills, social skills. We felt it was very important for first-year students to have the entire 14 weeks to cover that material. The remainder of your courses as a first-year student will play out where you have 2 during the fall 1 term and 2 during fall 2. So in effect, first-year students have 2.5 courses during term 1 and 2.5 during term 2. And again, this is just a sample schedule of what it might look like. We tend to assign writing to all of our first-year students, a math course, which is part of the gen ed requirements, and then other electives depending upon your interests. Here's another advantage of the power of small. After our CARES days, we will have a sense of who you are and what your interests are, so that our Student Academic Success Center, who plan your schedules, will give you a personalized schedule according to your interests. I really don't think that many schools can boast of that. So at this point, I think I'll turn it over to Lou Hedges, our Director of Admissions, to talk a little bit about some of the deadlines and what the future holds.
Thank you, Dr. Dolling and Dr. Boyers. There's a few things. Some of you have not yet decided to attend Rosemont, and so certainly we wanted to give you enough time to make the right decision. We only want you to attend Rosemont if this is the place you feel you should be. And so some of you are still in the process of deciding. And so you have until June 22nd to let us know. Should you need an extension beyond that, please communicate with us so that we can grant you an extension beyond that. There are some important events coming up this coming summer for enrolled students, and we call them CARES Days. And interestingly, we have CARES Days for both students and parents. Again, I mentioned in the beginning in our introduction that the engagement of the parents is paramount in the success of our college and our students, and we never ignore what the parents need and desire from us. So we have 2 coming up, June 16th for the students and June 17th for the students, as well as July 15th and July 16th for the parents. And then also we're hoping by August 1st to be able to make an announcement concerning the status if we're going to be yellow or start our green phase. So that should be coming up, certainly by August 1st, if we know. And we're in Pennsylvania, and those of you who are Pennsylvania residents, we're at the mercy of what the governor decides, and we're waiting, and hoping to get everything completed as quickly as possible. Now, also, orientation is coming up in August. So that begins on August 19th to the 23rd. And then also on Sunday, August 23rd, we have a ceremony called a cap and gown ceremony. And then the following day, Monday, August 24th, is when classes begin. So, during the summer, it's not, sitting around the pool or working on your summer job. We certainly have things that we want you to participate in because it's going to ease your transition. And when Dr. Dolling talked about some of the things that we want you to develop into in terms of your social skills and your first year seminar, first year experience, we want you to excel at Rosemont. So these are some of the things that will be coming up in the next few months that we would like you to participate in and be aware of. Okay. Now, should you need any information after this presentation, again, the invitation's always out there to you. Please never hesitate to communicate with us. If you need information from admissions, financial aid, accepted student resources, please communicate with us so that we can provide you with the answers that you need. Our tagline is the power of small. And once you get on campus, as was pointed out, the professor are going to know who you are. You're going to know the people in the different offices and services, and they're going to become your friends. And at a school like Rosemont, our size, the students you meet will become friends for the rest of your life. And we want you to really enjoy that experience. So let's get to, we hope that you see you on campus in the fall, certainly. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them of us, and we'll get to as many as we can. So who's first in the questions? And we'll
Me?
try to.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So what about, are we still gonna do like move-in day and stuff?
Yes, that'll all be coming up. You'll be getting information about move-in day, Toki, when you, once you've made an enrollment decision. A lot of things are predicated based upon your enrollment. So once you enroll, many other things are going to kick in, and you're going to be getting all kinds of information concerning, when to move in, what you should bring to campus with you. You don't have to bring a microwave because we have them. You don't have to bring a stove because we have those facilities in certain areas. So some of these things will be outlined for you, and that's a normal process for a student when they begin college, as items to bring with you.
Lou, if I may, that's part of our orientation. We call it SOAR, which is Student Orientation at Rosemont. So move-in begins Wednesday, August 19th. So mark that date.
Okay, okie dokie. I will.
Who's next with a question?
Process going to be for final
Hello?
decision of choosing a roommate for like Christian? What's that process look like and from a timing perspective?
Our residence life staff will be doing the room assignments as soon as we have all of the deposits. And they'll reach out to you as soon as that's all settled.
Do students have the ability to choose a roommate? Christian is planning to play soccer, so most likely, I don't know if they sort of room up like athletes.
Sure, if she would like to make that request, that's absolutely fine. Again, the power of small. Students can make those sorts of requests, and we listen.
And Mrs. Suarez, we actually encourage that if you're an athlete to room with possibly even an upperclassman on the same team, because they can be almost a big brother to you and guide you through and tell you how professors react to. Do they test you from what's in the book or what they lecture in the classroom? So there's a lot of good reasons to room with another member of your son's soccer team.
Well, actually, during the first year, we house all of our first year students in call.
Yeah.
And if you go online to our accepted students webpage, you'll have a nice tour, a virtual tour of Call Hall, which is really the hub for our first year students. There's a lot of activity, a lot of social events going on, a lot of mentoring. So a real community is formed there.
I have a 2017 graduate, so we're very familiar with Rosemont. Thank you.
Well, there you go.
Very good.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions, please.
Hello.
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
Hi. My question is for transfer students. Do you have to take the first year seminar class?
No, you do not, actually. So just be in contact with our Student Academic Success Center, and they'll provide a schedule for you. Our registrar regularly does transfer credits. So the short answer is no, you don't.
Okay. And then my other question was, if our classes are going to be online, are they going to be like we work at our own pace, or we'll have to log in at the time where that class would be scheduled?
That's a really good question. Traditionally, online classes tend to be the way you first described it. you log in whenever you want. Our plan is to do something a little bit better, and that is to include in every online class a synchronous component. Because what we heard from students is that they missed that experience of a live classroom, of seeing their professors, seeing their classmates, being involved in that sort of setting. So we decided to, regardless of whether we're on campus or fully online, which we don't intend to be, but if we have to be fully online, there will be that synchronous component, and it'll be exactly like you see before you, this sort of classroom. And you almost forget that you're not sitting side by side with students.
And Lisa, sorry, Provost Dolling. There's actually another question in the group chat. With 2 terms, 1 focus, will students be able to graduate within 4 years?
Absolutely, nothing is different. All of the courses still carry 3 credits. And as I said in the beginning, it's still a self-contained semester. So ordinarily, what students would have been taking during the course of the semester would have been 5 courses. It's still 5 courses. It's just 2.5 and 2.5. So you will begin spring semester no different than in the past. Basically, nothing's different except making students' lives a little bit easier.
Any other questions, please?
You can use the chat or you can raise your hand if we don't see you.
I see another question in the chat box. Oh, we got that one. Okay.
Yep.
I don't see everybody on the screen at one time, so I'm just double checking.
Stay
Any
here.
parent questions, anything?
Or just speak up.
Yeah.
Okay, we see a couple chats. How are the subjects that require labs going to work? That's a very good question as well. We're working on setting up online labs as well as on-campus labs, and this has become the norm lately. So it depends on which course. We know our physics labs will be on campus. We're looking into really state-of-the-art software and platforms so that our biology and chemistry labs can be done online. But just rest assured that everything will be in place by the time you start school.
Dr. Dolling, we have a question from Jake Torres, who's asking if he can rent a refrigerator.
Yes, you can rent a refrigerator. Residence Life will send out all of that information.
I didn't know that. So that's good to know.
Yeah. What does orientation look like for our commuter students? That is a very good question. On Tuesday, August 18th, we have a commuter student information center. So once you deposit, once you enroll, you will get all the information relevant for commuter students. We take good care of you, trust me. That's what the CARES days are all about. Once you deposit, you will select which CARES day you want to attend. Now, this year they'll be done online, but you'll get all the information you need for everything during that day. And parents, please sign up for your version of CARES days. Another question, what are the plans being set up for international applicants? If you send us your name, we can put you in contact with our international student director.
And the athletes were a question concerning athletes. Are they going to report to campus on August 15th?
Yes, so let me jump in on the athletes a little bit because I was just talking with our athletic director and our conference really. So right now, just actually today, the state kind of released some guidelines around athletics. We're talking with our conference. We'll have a clearer idea of when athletes report probably in the next 2 weeks, definitely, I think by the end of the July 4th weekend, and we'll be able to give guidance on that. Here's what I can tell you. Again, there's every intention that even the fall sports are going to take place. Right now, they're trying to figure out the schedule for the fall sports. And it may be the case that fall athletes don't report early, but they report on time and the season just starts a little later than normal.
Couple of other questions. Let's see. For registering classes, will I be assigned to an academic advisor? Not only will you be assigned to an academic advisor, you will meet that advisor in this format during CARES days. The advisor will be the one giving you your schedule and going over the details of your schedule with you. So again, CARES days is when all of this will be taken care of. Let's see. From my understanding, even if we go to the green phase, we still only meet in class on campus 1 day a week. Or is that for the yellow phase? The schedule has been set. Regardless of where we are, the meeting time will be that 1 hour. When we're when we're green, we will be green. When we're green, that will take place in the classroom. If we have to be yellow and be off campus, that synchronous time, that face-to-face time will be online.
And let me just jump in on that too, just to make sure people understand that 1 hour class is for each class. It's not
Yes.
just 1 hour for all class. It's
Sorry, yes.
just
Yeah, and if you
Sure.
recall the slide with the schedule, it plays out. We paid special attention to everyone's schedule, and we're making sure that no one is overburdened on any one day. And so classes play out where you have ample time to do the online component and to do the work you need. So yes, each class meets for 1 hour.
Dr. Dolling, is a question from Muhammad Dalaman concerning what are our plans for international applicants. I'm not sure what the specific question is, but can you address the international applicants?
Well, I'm not quite sure what the question is, Lou, but as I said, I can put him in contact with our Director of International Students.
Yes. And the international students are often, basically the same students as our native students, where they go to class and they'll do all the other things.
Oh, sure,
expected,
sure. Yeah,
certainly.
right.
And then the question concerning CARES days, how is the parents' portion of that different than that of for the students? I think, Dr. Dolling, that's yours again.
Indeed. I can run through some of the topics that we discussed. So during the student CARES days, we'll address things like academic schedules, requirements for completing a degree, student life, what it's going to be like, clubs. And there's a small component about financial aid and student billing. During the parents' CARES days, there's more of an emphasis on billing and financial aid, campus safety, confidentiality, things like this. The topics are the same, but I think the concerns are a bit different for parents. But you're invited, anyone is invited to participate in either one.
We have a question from Leandra Ross. When do we have to make the first payment? And I believe that is August 1st. Is that correct, Dr. Dolling?
I believe so.
Depending upon what your specific circumstances are, I believe the first payment will be due on August 1st.
You know something we should emphasize about this plan, really nothing has changed except caring about your safety and easing you into college academics. So everything, all deadlines are still the same, payments are still the same.
We also have a question, Dr. Dolling, about the thermal scanning. Where does that take place? For the students, I suspect.
President Boyers?
Yeah, so just real quick, during the yellow phase, which we believe will be to green by the time you guys get to campus, but during the yellow phase, we've set up only one entrance in the campus that we're bringing visitors and guests in. So if you come for a tour, which you can do during the yellow phase, you will go through that. Our security has set up a tent. We have a thermal scan. They don't touch you. They just kind of point it towards you and it gives them a temperature. This is just one of the safety measures we're putting in as we're in the yellow phase. They will not be doing thermal scans during the green phase, but they will limit the amount of entrances you come into. And then I saw too, with the new format, how many students per class. Right now with classes, it's going to be there's going to be, it depends upon the class, right?
It's no different. Honestly, it's no different.
You just congregate less times during the week, which reduces the risk and allows us to keep the sanitizing and cleaning up to date.
And also to add to that, most of our classrooms are large enough where you can actually seat the people far enough away from each other, you know, at least 6 feet apart. So the classrooms are functional where we can do that social distancing as well.
And, you know, unlike larger universities, we don't have massive classes with 50, 60, 70 students. It just doesn't exist at Rosemont. So we didn't have to worry about that problem.
Dr. Dolling has a question concerning the CARES days for parents. Is that when the payment plans are set up?
Yes, the Director of Financial Aid will be with us during that time. But if you have any questions about payments or financial aid, please, one of the last slides had the web address, and we can forward that to you for our financial aid office. They can answer any questions for you at any time. We're basically still functioning. We're still open, even though we work remotely. So please reach out to any office at any time.
Are there any questions that we have not addressed from our audience tonight? There's some great questions, by the way. Mrs. Suarez, do you have another question?
No, thank you so
We're
much.
looking forward to having your son on campus as well.
Thank you.
By the way, I see the question from Umar. Please, Umar, send me your email. I will put you in contact with our Director of International Studies. I promise.
How would it work when it comes to extracurricular activities like theater and stuff?
Honestly, there should be very little difference because we plan to be on campus. We may space ourselves out a little bit more, but a place like Rosemont can minimize the impact of something like this in ways that larger universities can't.
Yeah, one of the things I'd like to highlight is we're looking at all space on campus. So we're not just looking at occupancy and room, but one of the things I talked to the board about is we're even looking at shared spaces. We're looking at outside spaces. We're looking at common areas. We're going to make sure that there's room to have activities engaged, but do it in a safe way.
One more question from me.
Come on, what do you got, Toki?
So when I went to do the solo tour thing, we were discussing like what I wanted to get into, and they said they send me to another school to do animation. Are they still gonna do that, or?
We have animation classes. We talked about more advanced animation classes at Harrisburg University, Toki, remember? But
Yeah.
you know what? Let's touch base once we're on campus in the fall. We can help you out with that. Yeah, Toki has this incredible talent, President Boyers, for animation and art and graphic art. And so we're going to set her up.
That's great. That's wonderful.
I'm literally blushing.
Is there a reference list for what freshman students need to bring?
Yes, there is. Our Office of Residence Life will be sending you that list. How are student jobs affected? They're not really. You know, once we're back on campus, we still have ample opportunity for student work.
And let me address that also, Dr. Dolling. Like in the admissions office, we have ambassadors, and they take students on tours and they answer the phone when we're at lunch and things of that nature. So, but there's plenty of space where you're going to be socially distant from the next person. So you're going to be just like the current staff members, where conscious of your spacing and wearing a mask and things that we're asked to do, just like employees would be. So we do that quite effectively, and we rely very heavily on the students to help us with mailings and tours and you name it.
There's another question. Based on her question, will you still partner with other schools to offer classes that Rosemont doesn't have? Do you have a shuttle? We're part of the SEPSHE consortium, the Southeast Pennsylvania Consortium for Higher Education,
Very good.
where students are able to take courses at colleges like Cabrini and Newman and Chestnut Hill and a few others. That's unaffected. You could still do that. You could still do that online. We have not had a shuttle. None of the SEPSI schools have had a shuttle to be able to transport students between schools. We are within walking distance of Villanova University. So we find a lot of our students take courses at Villanova and vice versa. So, but we're also pretty confident that we have enough courses where you'll find everything you need. How do we as parents sign up for CARES Days? You go online and you go on to the accepted students webpage and you'll see a link for CARES Days. If there's any information you cannot find, please email me at provost@rosemont.edu. I can send you that information.
Any other questions for the panel? These have been great questions tonight, by the way. So we're a lot of depth and a lot of thought going into your decisions, and we're happy to respond to them. So, and if after, are there any other questions for our audience, from the audience? Okay, it appears not. So, but if there's any questions that come up, as Dr. Dolling said, after this event ends, thank you for answering. We're very welcome, and we're happy to have you participate and answer your questions. So that basically concludes the evening tonight. So please be aware, our website contains a lot more detail concerning Rosemont 2020. So don't hesitate to go to our website to see what information is listed there. We're here for you. If there's something that comes up that you don't find on the website, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to respond. You'll find that Rosemont is a very personal institution. Our goal is to keep you safe and to provide you with a high quality education, and the success of our graduates speaks for itself, and we want you to be part of that group in a short period of time. So everybody, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Please, we look forward to seeing you on campus, and thanks for all the great questions. So good evening, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you on campus very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye.